Making the wealthy pay their fair share. Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. And I tell you, I enjoy conversion.
That was last year's State of the Union speech, and the Republican reaction, their behavior in response to Donald Trump saying that they want to kill these popular programs, which I'm sorry, but they do. And you saw the booing and the yells of liar, and then you saw a baboon wearing a baboon skin shouting as well. And there was just a lot of, I would say, wild behavior, out of line with the claims that Biden was making. Well, not this year, because we got a new speaker in town, Mike Johnson, and he's not gonna stand for any of that stuff. And he's also not gonna be able to stop any of that stuff, but he's given it the old college try, the old evangelical, not a real college try.
Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait, click join now on YouTube.
He said to a group of lawmakers on the Republican side, decorum is the order of the day. Okay, put that on the gravestone of the Republican Party. He said we should carry ourselves with good decorum, another member said. He just said, let's have the appropriate decorum. Apparently that word was thrown around many times. We don't need to be shrill, we got to avoid that. We need to base things upon policy, upon facts, upon reality of situations. They'll have to be reacquainted to that. Let them do the gaslighting, let them do the blaming. I think the American people know who is responsible for the many worldwide crises that we have. Now, I don't know who that last person is, but they seem, look, a little bit detached from reality, but they seem reasonable-ish, they seem mature-ish. And let's keep it real. The comments for decorum were given to like a lot of Republicans, but it is not difficult to imagine that maybe it was targeted at just a few people. It reminds me of when Michael Scott on The Office said some racist stuff, so everybody had to take sensitivity training, even though they only needed his signature saying he'd taken the class. So I don't know if Marjorie Greene or Lauren Boebert got the message, but perhaps they'll settle down just a little bit. Farron, what do you think?
I don't think these Republicans even know how to conduct themselves like rational, mature, adult human beings. And having said that, I think Biden tonight, he should start it. He should come up to the podium and say, all right, before I get into this, I want to see everybody's hands. Lauren Boebert, let's make sure nothing's going on over there.
No.
Just right out the gate, Biden needs to come out and humiliate them and then get into the speech and move on from there. But I mean, look, the best thing in the world for the Democrats is if these Republicans do make complete fools of themselves. I mean, obviously that can be used in campaign ads. It can be used all over the country. So I'm sure a lot of Democrats are hoping that these Republicans do not take Speaker Johnson's advice, because they want those viral clips. They want to show what we're actually dealing with. And it shouldn't be hard. Again, these people have proven time and time again, they do not conduct themselves properly. They cannot hold it in. I mean, they are compelled to shout out every single thing they're thinking. And I do think, by the way, last year, Biden did a great job talking about the cuts to Social Security that Republicans want. He had a great response to their heckling, like, hey, call my office. I'll send it to you right now. Just let me know. So he actually does pretty well in these situations. So there's got to be something that happens. I think we're pretty much all in agreement that something weird is going to happen tonight. We just have to wait and see who it's going to be from.
I mean, like, all of the incentives are to do it. Like, so Mike Johnson, who none of them respect, and he might not be speaker in a week and a half, is telling them to have decorum. But if they shout out that you're a pedophile, they raise $5 million in the next day. Different incentives. I don't know which way they're gonna go with that. So I think they definitely will. Look, I on some level like the idea of Biden coming out and roasting them. I think that would be great. I don't know if he could really do it. I think that if Obama had decided to go in that direction, He could have really killed it. But that said, what I would like to see is I want Biden to come out and really set the agenda for what you want to do in this candidacy and what the second term would be. Sure, talk about the State of the Union and all that stuff and point out that the Republicans killed the border bill. That's the thing, by the way, they're gonna freak out about when he mentions that. But also say what you want to do. And more important than what you say is what you do before you go out there. Because if he doesn't like shotgun a Four Loko or something, I'm gonna be really disappointed because we need maximal energy Biden. I want him to burn through like 10% of his remaining life force for this speech because he needs it. But in any event, look, Representative Tim Burchett sort of tried to turn the tables after the Decorum talks. So he says, will they do it? Like, will the Democrats show decorum? Somebody asked me that earlier and I said, does the Baptist church got a bus? Of course they will, because he's gonna say some very offensive things. He's gonna attack us, you know, Biden. He's such a bomb thrower. Anyway, I think we just need to try to be a little classy. Consider where we're at, let the other side do that. You know, they did it to Trump and nobody said boo. But when we do it, we're gonna get made an example of it. What do you mean they did it to Trump? They're the Democrats. They don't have it in them to be disruptive. Like, okay, I know they went to a shot of AOC and she looked unhappy. Ooh, so disruptive. But look, what he seems to be implying is maybe the most disruptive thing, which I guess would be this. You could see there, okay, Pelosi ripped up the speech. And I think earlier she'd done like a little thing like that. Should she do that? Perhaps not. But in her defense, I guess, she waited until the very end. People are literally walking out. It's like being caught on a hot mic. It was definitely prepared and everything, but it's not like she interrupted him while he was talking about Israel or something like that. And that is really like the only example. Whereas on the Republican side, I mean, sure, you've got Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Greene like hooting and hollering like animals, completely losing their mind in a performative fashion. But you even have, you go back, Joe Wilson shouting, "You lie." That was considered like the first big breach of decorum. That was a Republican. And look, we'll see what happens. Marjorie Greene has been tweeting a lot about the State of the Union, implying that I guess you can't talk about foreign policy or something. That would be news to every president that's ever given one. So I expect that they'll go crazy. Any other thoughts from you?
No, but I do agree. Well, I do have extra thoughts. Actually, I do agree with you, especially about Biden has to come with some energy. Obviously, with the way things are working out right now, ton of attention being paid to the cognitive abilities of Biden and Trump. Yes. If Biden comes out there and he messes up one word, every right-wing media outlet's gonna be talking about it nonstop, headline news for 2 weeks. He has to be at the very top of his game in a way that he's probably never been throughout his whole career. No screw ups, no slip ups, no mixing up somebody's name, misreading a teleprompter. And you can't be the Sleepy Joe. Don't come out there with your ice cream cone. No, I mean, save that for later. We're good with that. Don't freak Jesse Waters out. He doesn't like that.
No,
but
makes me comfortable.
I do think Biden can pull it together. And if he does do a powerful performance where he seems like, okay, we've seen nothing but reports about how old he is and how bad his brain is for 3 months straight, he actually seems okay. If people can look at it and see that, I think we might see a little bit of turnaround with the polls. But like you said too, it's gotta be policy. It's gotta be, look, here's where we've come from. Yeah. This could be my last State of the Union. So let's talk about what we've done, but let's talk about the work to be done. Because I get it, I understand a lot of you. We look good on paper, but when you get down to the nitty gritty and individuals, things aren't that great for you. We're gonna get you there. I'm going to get you there. That is the message he has to send tonight. And he's got to do it with at least a little bit of energy, matching what he had last year, or preferably more so.
Yeah, and look, he could talk about, a lot of the good economic news that's come out over the past couple of months. And what will happen is he will say all of these good things that are happening, and then the Republicans will be utterly silent. They will not feel any of those previous norms of celebrating the success of the nation, and show them being sour-faced at the idea that unemployment is down, that wages are rising, the stock market's doing well. All of those things that they always say that they're in favor of, they're gonna be all sour-faced and mad about. Show that to the American people. Remind them that you had this bill to fix the issue at the border and they killed it. Definitely do all of that. And my final point will be, Assuming that was actually last year, that was last year that they did that. That feels like 8 years ago that does it not? How
It
could that
really
only
does.
have been last year? Dear God.